And I moved to next to Zen Center in San Francisco and wound up with the editor of The Realist as my roommate, Paul Krasner. That was amusing. That was later written up as The Odd Couple because we were both sort of post-marriage and gallivanting and disturbed and dealing with all of the currents that were going every which way. Paul was a lot of the inspiration for the Whole Earth catalog for me because The Realist, he wrote it all. And so he mostly signed it with his initials, so that it didn't look like he was writing everything, even though he was. And I adopted that with the SB and the Whole Earth catalog. And a lot of the things that he was doing with The Realist, I did very directly in the Whole Earth catalog. It was great because he and Abby Hoffman were my exposure to the best of the New Left, I think, because they both had humor about it, and they would joke just as fiercely about the movement as they would about the establishment, where a lot of other people were way sanctimonious. Abby especially was amazing. Abby Hoffman is a good, dangerous urban New Yorker. To ride with him was in some ways even more interesting than riding with Kesey. This may speak a little bit to what counterculture at its best is taking the practices that have very good reasons to exist and just messing with them a little bit to see what they're made of, what the world's made of, what you're made of, what relations are like when you mess with them, because, okay, you're on the Lower East Side, it's time to go get a meal. You go with Abby into a little hole in the wall, and somebody is just getting up from their dinner to pay for dinner and leave, and Abby goes and sits down at their table and finishes their dinner and expects you to sit down and join him in finishing somebody else's dinner. And everybody is having to think sideways. What is happening? Is this theft? Is it really good conservation of food? Because otherwise that stuff is just garbage. But it's not garbage. It's still warm. So he had the quality of making you think 7 times, making a joke, making political hay, just fucking with everybody's mind. And it was a treat and a trial to be around. More of a treat than a trial. It was a time when there was a certain amount of stuff that had gotten kind of ossified and was worth breaking up anyway. It was a time when anybody could get a job doing anything. I mean, it's hard to imagine. Student loans didn't exist, and so people were not in that penury that people coming out of college now are, and completely changes their behavior in terms of they got to make money to pay off the damn loan. So it was a privileged, strange period, and then we had something to identify ourselves as a generation with the drugs primarily. And Margaret Mead was going around saying it's not good when the youth know more than the elders about anything. Actually, that sounds like a very good deal from our standpoint. Of course, it's been the deal ever since because with various technologies and so on, the young always know how to do the computers, the cell phones, or whatever the hell better than the elders do. And I think that is to the good.